Welcome, everybody. It's my delight to have Wendy Nash here to talk about energy and talk about her connection with passion maps, I guess, in a little way. So we've just started these events we're trying to get a community sense together and have different people, talking about what they're really good at doing, what their gifts are. And so that's how Wendy comes to be here. She's a facilitator. She's a passion maps coach. Strangely enough, I met Wendy a long, long time ago when she was working for the publisher of my book, The Wisdom of Passion. And you remember Oliver, Roger?
I do indeed.
Wendy worked for Oliver.
Oh, is that so? Oh, well, we haven't made that connection.
Yeah.
Oliver.
I didn't realize you knew him, Roger.
Yeah.
Now we had a modestly called genius group that Oliver, Roger, and I were members of.
Uh-huh.
And we used to meet once a month. Anyway, be that as it may. I must say that from my point of view, I become more and more interested in energy as time goes by with this work, and what we can do with it and what we can't do with it, and how we can use it to heal things, and so it's an area that Wendy's really masterful at, and I just, how long have we given you? 20 minutes, half an hour?
15 minutes, I think.
15 minutes, okay. Yeah. Well, we might give you a papal dispensation for a few more minutes if you need them.
It's okay, whenever you're ready.
And so, we have a tradition, I guess, where we just have 1 minute silence and reflect on our presence in this group and why we're here. And is there anything in particular that we want to get out of it? And there'll be time for questions, and there'll be at the end. But if we just have a minute of silence and then come back together again, and I'll just ring a gong when a minute is up. Thanks, guys. Now, would you like to put something into your name? This is something, Sig, that all the others have seen this, but we have developed this sort of process where we put what we really love. What is really interesting about Wendy's topic today for you? What do you love about it? And then you give me a bit of, you make your surname that thing. So I'm going to rename myself Peter Magic.
Love that.
There's something magical that happens in this unseen world. So if you want to, you can do the same thing. Otherwise, you can just be. And you've got peace within. Lovely, Marty.
I've got alchemy.
Wonderful. Mia, have you got something to bring to the group?
Mia always has something to bring to the group.
She does.
Lovely energy.
Oh, thank you. The word that comes to mind is positive.
Wonderful.
So I don't know.
Do you know how to change to Mia positive?
No, I don't. Oh, it must
You
be.
click your name on the box,
Mhm.
and another box will come up and allow you to rename it.
A rename. Okay. How about
Lovely, thank you.
presence? Mhm.
Presence Roger has. Lovely.
In a sense, it's a gift, isn't it, that we share together
Mm.
what we're writing down here. Sig, do you want to do this, or just you want to remain Sig?
I'll just remain at the moment. My keyboard's not working.
Ah,
Okay,
I'm on an iPad and the keyboard is got a few keys that have stopped working.
yeah, okay, fine. What would it be if you had something?
To do with frequency and energy.
mhm.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know. I think frequency and energy is the foundation of all manifestations that we experience.
okay. So
Manifestation.
I'll imagine your Sig, frequency and energy, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. And so the basic process is Wendy's going to talk for a few minutes. If you have any specific questions for Wendy, please put them in the chat. And yeah, and you can, and then it'll be over to you. And then at the end of it, we can have some open discussion if we choose to.
Mhm.
Okay, so over to, well, Wendy's got a lot going for her. I don't, it says introduce you, but you're just fabulous anyway. One thing that Wendy has done is work for the Gawler Institute, which has been a really important organisation in Australia for introducing meditation
Yes,
and energetics into healing. And Ian Gawler is an extraordinary man. And so I would have thought it's a big honour to work with him.
It is.
And apart from all your other things, my arm isn't long enough. So I'll hand over to you,
Okay.
and just whatever comes, comes.
That's how I roll. Yeah. Whatever comes, comes on the day. So thanks for coming, everybody, and being here today. My cat's trying to get in the picture now. So why I chose this topic, well, first of all, I'll tell you a little bit about why or how I got interested in energy, which was I have a corporate background, as some of you well know, and was, in that fast, crazy corporate life and loved it, loved the fast pace, but I actually burnt out and didn't know what I was going to do then. So that was how I first started learning about energy, was when I suddenly didn't have any and thought, how do I get out of this? What do I do? Because I ended up not just with burnout, but had chronic fatigue and couldn't work for a good 2 years, couldn't do anything. So it was very interesting time, challenging time too, but to go from someone who was always, on the go, could do, lots of multitasking and, keep going and work long hours and, thought I was 10 foot tall and bulletproof, to suddenly here I was, laid out, it was an effort to even get to the bathroom. I can remember crawling across the floor, literally, because I didn't have the energy to stand up just to get there, or to get to the kitchen to try and get something to eat. So it was, and a lot of people that I tried to go to doctors or so forth at the time didn't know about chronic fatigue back then. a couple of doctors I went to tell me, oh, you're depressed, here, take this, which I'd rip up the script as soon as I got outside, because I knew it wasn't depression. It wasn't, it didn't resonate with me. So it took me on this journey where I was looking for ways to heal myself, basically. And I tried lots of modalities, all sorts of things, trying to get better, and I sort of came up with the idea after a while, realized that, gee, I need to choose one thing at a time. Otherwise I don't know what's going to be working and what's not working. But the main things that I tried and then ended up studying them were kinesiology. Meditation was a big help. I started going to an ashram every week, and just meditation brought me back to that inner stillness, which is, and finding that awareness. I'd been running, which I hadn't realized, but running, in your mind all the time when you're in corporate, because you're always thinking of the next meeting or the next project or the next run to meet. So I was really, couldn't do anything, was lying there still, and it put me in this place of what, first of all, what's happening to me, what's going on, how do I get out of this? People that I was going to, as I said, didn't have anything to offer because no one knew about chronic fatigue then. And I really literally would struggle to roll over in bed. I didn't have the energy. I can remember lying there thinking, how am I going, I'd really like to turn over on my other side, and I couldn't. So it was a really interesting time of, wondering what was happening to me and then observing what was happening to me. And how do I get out of this, as I said. And in the end, I basically thought, because at one stage I thought, is this it? Am I going to die here? Is this how it's going to be? So I had to really dig deep and look for other ways and look for answers from myself, because no one outside had the answers. And it's something that I teach in my meditation classes now too, which is, meditation brings us back to looking inside and connecting with that inner stillness and our true nature, which is really what we need to be doing. I think COVID is, given us an opportunity, for as much as we might not like being in lockdown, it's given us an opportunity to, find the time and, not be running around like we normally do and dealing with the fast pace of life. A lot of people are working from home rather than having to rush off to the office every day. So it's bringing us back to, and, a lot of people I think have realized that they have had time to be with themselves and their family more. And they've found a difference in working from home rather than having to be at the office with, lots of people around them every day. I think a lot have become aware or more aware of the difference that makes. And it's an important thing, I think, to establish that, we need to be aware and not just doing things and being in places, mindlessly. It's always a big gain if we're connected to our awareness. It connects us to then a higher frequency, a higher energy, because the more we stay connected with that awareness, it raises our energy, and everything else, the chaos, then drops away. So that's the important thing about finding that stillness inside and being connected with our true nature, if you like. You then become, we're all intuitive, but sometimes if we're in our heads a lot, we're cut off from that. It's like a disconnect. So the more we can be in that space and for longer periods of time through the day, so it's being the observer, like you are in meditation, being the observer of the thoughts as they come and go. When you take that into your day, you can observe just yourself and how you're showing up in each thing, like how you're showing up here today, how you're showing up, as you go through your day doing different things. It puts that space of, you, or allows you to be the observer of your own life and how you're interacting with people, how you're doing your work, how you're being in all sorts of different situations, whether it's, someone that you're standing beside in a shop or whatever it might be. Because the more we are aware of that, it also gives us an awareness or an opportunity to be more aware of energy and how that's affecting you through the day as well. I'm sure you've all been in situations where, you might have arrived at, whether it's a meeting or someone's home that you go to, and you might just sense something, feels off, or you might sense it feels great there. That's because of the energy of the place or the people. And we're mingling, with different energies every day in different situations. So the more aware we become, the more we're able to take care, and that's our self-care, take care of our own energy so that it can be vibrating at the highest frequency. Does that make sense? Yeah. So because then when we're able to do that, then we attract more positive things to us. We attract opportunities, the right opportunities. When I say the right opportunities, I mean the right opportunities for us, for each of us. What's right for me is not right for Peter or Mia or Roger. We're all different. We're all different beings. We all vibrate differently, and we're all here to do a different purpose, if you like. And the good thing about doing our passion map is it connects us to our dreams, our passions, the things that motivate us, and we can then vibrate those out into the world. Our map carries an energy. Once we've formed, and put our map together, that has an energy. That's why it's good to connect with your map each day, and have those intentions, perhaps whether it's choosing one of your elements and choosing, having that as an intention for the day, that energy that you've connected with that element, or whether you connect with an element or the whole map, is then going to carry that energy for you through the whole day. So has anyone got any questions at the moment?
Yeah, I do. I'm going to jump in because I'm sitting on this. How does that work? We're all connected to each other energetically.
We are, yeah.
And, when, I run programs where you actually get people to walk towards you, and then you say, well, when do you actually feel them?
Yeah.
So there's one level about like 20 meters, and there's another one, which is your body awareness. And so we're constantly exchanging energy with people physically. What's happening online, do you think?
What's happening?
Yeah, what's happening energetically between us online? I don't know. I mean,
It's the same thing.
wonder.
I mean, it's you might not sense it as much as, you know, when you're in the room with someone, but we're still connecting energetically. And you'll find some Zooms that you're on will be different to others and that's because of who's there in that group and how you're connecting. That exercise you're just talking about, Peter, where you know, do that exercise of walking towards each other, you know, that'll be different for every person. There's no set thing, because someone will feel, you know, a person when they're, you know, 20 foot from them. Someone else might not find it until, you know, feel that until the person's 5 foot from them, because we've all got different size energy fields around us. So that's another thing. The more that we look after our energy field, you know, the larger it gets, you know, the higher our frequency, you know, the further it gets. You know, we can do a little exercise if you'd like, to all just close your eyes for a moment, taking a few deep breaths. And just becoming aware, or, you know, getting a sense of where your energy bubble or your energy field is around you. You know, we've all got an energetic field around our body, around our physical body. So just trying to get a sense of where that is, how far out it is all around you. And then just expanding that bubble or that field, whatever you like to call it. Expanding it out to the walls of the room that you're in. And then expanding it out further to the edge of the house or office that you're in. Taking it out further beyond the boundaries of the property you're on. Out further beyond the suburb. Further again beyond the whole state or region that you're in. And further again outside the country, that land that you're in. Expanding it out. Out into the space, universe. Beyond the planets, if you like. Noticing how that feels. Just sensing that expansion, greatness. Being aware of where you are. Noticing if your energy field is clear. You might like to clear it of any thoughts, feelings, emotions, projections. So keeping that expansion, but bring your attention back to us in the Zoom now. So would anyone like to share how that was for them?
For me, it was gentle.
Mm.
You know, there wasn't like a sense of gathering energy or becoming more energetic. It just seemed to, you know, it seemed to be very elastic. I think that's what the word is, you know, where that's all I can do.
No, that's great.
Not very verbal in the moment, but it just seemed to sort of really expand without the tension. You know how often you take something like a rubber band and there's a tension to it. It was an expansion
Yeah.
that was held all the way through, but with a gentleness. So it when it came back, it also came back with a gentleness. So neat.
Great. Anyone else like to share?
Very calming.
Sorry?
Absolute, very calming.
Mm.
Just, yeah, and it's a long way out to the edge of the universe, I've discovered.
It is.
And it's big.
It is, yeah. Anyone else? How did you go with that, Roger?
Roger, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. I agree with Mia about that gentle sort of expansion. But I did feel energized, not in a buzzy way, but just in a gentle, strong way. Yeah, so made me feel alive.
Right. See, would you like to share how you?
I'd agree with Peter. For me, it was calming, peaceful, and expanding. I've been a collector of galaxies for about 25 years. So I went to the edge of the universe, and I'm looking forward to the launch of the James Webb telescope at the end of December.
Great. So you're very used to being out there by the sound of it.
Yeah, yeah. I used to astral travel when I was a teenager, and I would travel, from the little village I lived in to go to different places around the world.
Yeah, great.
And when I need calming, some people collect stamps. I collect beautiful galaxies, spiral galaxies.
Lovely.
Thank you for that.
So what's the sensation of the galaxy? See?
What's the sensation?
Yeah.
Oh, energy, just spiral energy. For me, it's just the magnificence of a galaxy and the mystery of how all of that happens. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
So do you ever travel there to energize yourself?
No, when I say I traveled around the world as a teenager, but now one of the things that brings me peace is just looking at, well, it was the Hubble telescope with the wonderful photography of distant galaxies and the discovery that really space goes on forever. There's no Big Bang for me. It's foreverness. You know, time and space is infinite.
It is, yeah. We're infinite too.
Yeah, exactly.
we're infinite beings.
Yeah.
So that's a great exercise that you can do yourself. Like if you wake up in the morning, you can just choose to do that for yourself, is becoming aware of the energy around you, your energy field or your bubble, whatever you like to call it. You might have some other word. And just expanding it out, before you go about your day. It keeps you expanded because, often, or, if you do go have an interaction during the day that's perhaps not a good interaction with someone, or, something happens at somewhere you've been that, those, or it's, something negative that you come across during the day, or, like listening to the media this year or any time really, those things contract us. So it's good to do that, if you become aware of that, if you're thinking about and being or sensing your energy during the day, just become the observer, and you check in every now and then during the day and get a sense of where you are. Are you feeling contracted or expanded? We want to be expanded all the time to be in our best energy and frequency. Sorry about that.
Wendy, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
In the light of all this amazing energy, how do you explain your situation where you had none? Were you totally disconnected from energy field, or what? How could you go to that place? What took you there? Energetically, I mean.
Energetically. So what I learned, and then learned because I, took me on a different path and journey, and I studied, many modalities after that, was I hadn't been connected to, how would you say that? I'd been running in my head, which often people do in corporate. It's that kind of world, you're always like, you've always got something on the go. It's a busy place, you're on phones and computers and whatever's happening during the day. And, I had a very busy job or jobs over the years. And I wasn't doing, even though I loved them, loved that pace. Like I said, I was a real type A person, loved having everything, the next thing to do. And so people kept giving me the next thing to do. But I was not in a place where I was feeding my soul, if you like. So the things that I'd done growing up, which were dancing, and I did for years until I was, into my teens, and horse riding, they're both in their own way meditational, and they both keep you very connected to your body and your awareness, energetically, if you like. I mean, I didn't know it was energetically then, but I do now. So those things that probably kept me in balance all my life, because I did both of them from a very young age, and they probably kept me sane growing up, really, when I'm honest about it, is that, once I got into, an adult and, being, corporate and, getting the next promotion, or, going for another job, to learn more and move up in the world. And I wasn't doing those things that kept me in balance. As much as I, was loving the work I was doing, when I look back, as I said, I didn't have things that were feeding my soul and keeping that balance for me. And sometimes people are out of balance the other way. They follow a spiritual path, but they're not grounded in it. They become a seeker of, all things spiritual. But it's no good doing that work either if you're not grounded at the same time. So you can be out of balance either way. We need to be aware of our energy field. If it's not feeling right, what do I need to do for me now? Check in with yourself. If you're feeling off or you're feeling a bit scattered, what is that? Is it mine? Is it someone else's? Often, most of the time, it's someone else's, because you've had an interaction with someone or been, somewhere, and we pick up energy. We stop picking up other people's energy so much is by keeping ours intact and keeping it, our own energy field, like I said, keeping it vibrating higher, so that it's then like water off a duck's back. We don't pick up negative energy. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did I answer your question, Peter?
Well, I find it sort of, I mean, I haven't been through as severe a burnout as you have, but I have felt burnt out.
Yeah.
And it's easy to say, well, like this happened physically. Well, where does it happen? Because physically it was okay, but I had no energy.
Yeah.
Is it that this sort of, when you described yourself then, it sounded like you had like a soul disconnect?
Yeah. And I think anyone that has burnout does, to a point, to different degrees. It's showing them, I think when people get something like burnout or chronic fatigue, or, anything where they're just stopped in their tracks, is there's, it's your body trying to tell you, hey, you're not looking after me properly. Something's off here. You need to change what you're doing. So you need to look at what you need to do to connect and take care of, perhaps your soul, at a soul level, look at, what you're not connecting with. Often people are not connecting spiritually. We're spiritual beings too, and we need to be connected to that part of us to keep in balance. To really be in balance, we need to be looking at, having our spiritual connection. However, we have different ways of doing that for different people, whatever suits people differently. Meditation helps with that a lot. And even meditating just for 10 minutes a day makes a huge difference. I have a client that I worked with, did some sessions with a little while ago, a CEO, and I introduced him to that idea, and he's found it, a huge benefit, just meditating for 10 minutes a day. It gives you more clarity, you're more connected with, and more aware, have more awareness, greater awareness. You can make decisions better, you're more focused, just by 10 minutes. Not that long. If you can do more, great, but just 10 minutes will make a huge difference. And the other thing, should be thinking about the food that we're putting, everything that we're putting in. So like I think I mentioned earlier, we've got so much coming at us these days with technology, the media, apart from, whatever we're dealing with in our workday, or, perhaps things that might be going on with family or friends or whatever that might be, however, 50 or 100 emails a day, whatever those things are, it's all energy, that they all carry energy. It's all energy coming at us. So we need to look after our own energy field so that we can deal with all of that. And so that it doesn't, take over. That's what happened to me, why I burned out. All that stuff took over. I had so much, we grew a company from 4 or 3 of us originally over 2 years to 65 staff. And, I was getting questions all day, every day from people, can I do this? How do I do this? Or, they'd ring me. My secretary at the time said, "You're like children, can't they leave you alone?" And I guess, looking back now, I could have perhaps put stronger boundaries in so that they didn't ask me so much. But, it's all a learning experience. It's easy to see that now. I didn't at the time. I would just, give them the answer or fix the problem, or tell them how to fix the problem that they came to me with. So
You said watch what you eat.
Sorry?
You said watch what you eat and everything that comes at us.
Oh, yeah.
Energy.
So,
So
it's,
sorry, that's what I heard.
yeah.
Maybe you didn't say that. I was going to ask you a question about food cooked with love.
Yes, makes a big difference.
How do you know it's been cooked with love or not cooked with love?
Well, if you're buying it, unless you know the person really well, it's probably not. If you're just getting takeout, or some, like people do these days, food in a box, then likelihood is it's not cooked with love. So, the best way is to cook for yourself, or, have someone that cares about what they're cooking or cares about you to cook it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that all makes a difference too. If you eat at a restaurant and, if you really want to get down to it, and the chef's in a really bad mood, which, I worked with chefs years ago, and sometimes, boy, are they in bad moods. But, energetically, that affects how the food goes out. If you go to a restaurant and you really enjoy the food and the meal, and it might be about the staff and who serves you as well, and the general energy of the whole place, but it makes a difference, doesn't it? I'm sure you've been to restaurants and it's not such a good time because the energy there wasn't great.
Sure. We've got an Indian place nearby here. Food used to be fabulous. And the guy took a lot of pride in what he did. And it's, and he was always happy and welcoming.
Yeah.
And it's got bigger and better, bigger and more busy. And he's got crankier. And the food's got worse. And it may be that the food hasn't actually changed.
No.
It's cooked by a cranky man, and it's different.
And also, if that's his restaurant, he's putting that energy out generally, like to his staff, within the place. So that makes a difference too. So
yeah,
there's a Sicilian actually saying that says, when it's translated, it means something like that the fish stinks from the head down. So what it means is, whoever the boss is, if they're in a bad mood, it's the same thing. It gets sent down to them. So we need to be aware of that. But, being aware of those sort of places where you are going to eat, if it's really good energy, or like you said, that place has gone off, don't go there anymore, because it's not going to give you good energy for yourself.
Yeah. You were going to say something, Mia.
It comes down to awareness, doesn't it? Awareness of what's happening, because I'm thinking that sometimes you're just tired. You know, sometimes you just need to flip the switch and
Absolutely.
your feet up and stare at a cloud.
And that might be, you know, just lying down for 20 minutes, having a nap, or it might be meditating for 10 minutes. You know, if you've in the middle of a work day and you've got to, you know, keep working for the rest of the day, take 10 minutes and meditate and then go back. You know, it'll refresh you or recharge you, or become aware of your energy bubble around you and just, you know, have the intention, I clear all thoughts, feelings, emotions from my energy field.
Mm-hmm.
And then connect with your higher source. Have that intention that you're connecting from the top of your head up to, you know, whatever you call it up there. You know, some people call it heaven, some people call it, you know, space, universe, whatever it might be, or just your higher source, you know, your guides, whatever works for you. So clearing your energy field, connecting with your higher source or your guides. And that makes a big difference.
So intention obviously has a huge part to play in all of this energy work.
Absolutely.
Because you're not actually clearing it. You have an intention for it to be clear, don't you? I mean,
yeah. And that clears it.
Yeah.
If you're feeling, you know, if you've been somewhere and you leave afterwards and you're not feeling right, if you just simply say to yourself, you know, what is this? Who does it belong to? And then your energy feels lighter after that. It's because it wasn't yours. So that heavy feeling, or that whatever the feeling was, if it's gone, once you ask those questions, it means it wasn't yours.
And where's trauma with all of this, Wendy?
So the thing with trauma is that often people, if it's severe trauma, often they become disconnected, or the energy becomes scattered. So then it's hard for them to get out of that place because it's the energy's off. So they need to be able to really connect again. And often they need help with that, so that they can, you know, heal. It's, you know, in Chinese medicine, you know, I don't know if any of you have ever been to a Chinese medicine practitioner, but, you know, part of their diagnostic, you know, apart from taking pulses, is, you know, they'll look at the color of the skin and they'll look into the person's eyes, because in Chinese medicine, the eyes show the shen, or the spirit, in the person. So someone who's been through trauma, or, you know, a deep illness, like, you know, cancer patients, you know, if you've ever noticed them, they'll, their skin will be a different color. Their eyes look dull and a bit opaque. It's because the spirit's not strong. And as long as in Chinese medicine terms, you know, they want to be able to bring that light back to the eyes. You know, if someone's eyes are bright and shiny, you know, they've got a strong spirit. And then, you know, that's how we need to be, you know, to be at our best and have our strength and our best energy. So when a person's spirit or shen is not showing, you know, it's looking weak, according to the eyes, it's hard for them to heal, because you know, the spirit's not there to help them with that. So you need to look at, you know, what needs to happen to bring that, strengthen the spirit again. And that can be, you know, eating good foods, you know, nurturing with food. You know, we need nurturing from people around us, good support. we need to be nurturing ourselves, looking after our self-care, doing things, you know, whatever that is, you know, that's going to fill us up, bring us joy, those types of things. You know, looking at the sensory aspect of it, you know, what are you, who are you spending time with? Who are you, you know, what are you listening to? You know, if you're listening to all the news, especially, you know, this last year or so, all the time, you know, it's not going to make you feel good, is it? It's just a nightmare out there. It's chaotic. So unplugging from those things that aren't positive helps us keep our spirit and our strength, and helps us keep our vibration high. Yeah.
I was just thinking that is just the simplest diagnostic, isn't it? How
It
bright
is.
are your eye, how bright are your eyes?
Yeah. Simple. Yeah. So
And can you diagnose your own?
sure, you only have to look in the mirror. So if your eyes aren't bright, you'll notice, you know, and some days you can, you know, I notice mine some days, you know, some days you get up and you're tired and, you know, look in the mirror and they look a bit dull. So then if you notice that, that's the other thing, you know, how often do you just get up, get out of the shower, comb your hair, do whatever, put, you know, throw something on. But are you really looking at yourself when you're looking at the mirror? Most times we're not. You know, most times people are, you know, oh, comb the hair. Oh, no, that bit's not right. You know, oh, put my lipstick on, do whatever. But, you know, stop for a minute and look at yourself. You know, look at your eyes. Are they bright? Are they dull? You know, if they're dull, oh, something's off. You know, what do I need to do for myself to fix that? It might be having a great breakfast. It might be just meditating before you start the day. So do whatever, you know, ask yourself, you know, what do I need to do? And then do that thing and go back and look in the mirror.
And it'd be interesting in some of these calls, wouldn't it, to stop and say, how bright are your eyes?
Yeah.
And if they're not really bright, we're going to give you 5 minutes to fix it and then come back.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why, you know, sometimes you can do, you know, meditation with people, or, you know, some kind of energy exercise with people, whether it's in person or on Zoom, but they'll notice that they feel lighter or they feel more alive afterwards.
Yeah.
Or they feel more, or they feel more calm or more peaceful or whatever it might be than when they started. Yeah.
I'm aware of the time. Do you
Okay.
have any exercises or anything that you want to say before we finish, Wendy?
No, I think, you know, unless I'm happy to answer any questions, if anyone's got any questions, you know, if people want to go on my website, on my blog, there's some exercises on there that they might find useful. I did start a meditation course on Monday, so we've only had one class. If anyone is interested in doing a meditation course, they can stick one in. I can catch you up. It's Mondays at 11, and it's another 5 weeks. So I can happy to catch someone up if they want to join that class. There's details of that on my website too. And, you know, think about checking in with your passion map and, you know, connecting to that energy each morning is what I'd suggest.
And what's your website, Wendy?
It's just wendynash.com.au.
Okay, great.
So did anyone have any questions before we go? And happy for you to, you know, email me, or if you do have questions.
Thank you.
So can we just maybe finish with one word?
Mm-hmm.
And mine is gratitude.
Um,
Me too. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
I feel a great energy in this group.
Yeah.
I'll have to come back more often, Peter.
Good. That sounds good.
I agree, Sig. Yeah, lovely energy, and Peter, you're right. Gratitude for the group, but particularly for you, Wendy. You've given a lot of yourself today. It's just, and your presence is beautiful.
Thank you.
Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman.
Bright eyes.
That's an exercise you can do too. Just gave me an idea. Roger, is something that I get people to work with is, if you're feeling a bit flat and you've got to show up for the day somewhere, Wonder Woman was the cue there, Roger, is choose that. If you ever saw that show, Wonder Woman, you saw her stand up with the hands on the hips and looking up. It's a known fact that it raises, lifts you up and gives you strength if you stand like that for a few minutes before you approach whatever you have to approach, whether it's a difficult conversation or whatever it might be. So try the Wonder Woman stance.
Now, here's a question. Sorry, but this week there was a fantastic program about, I think it was at Four Corners. Anyway, Angela Merkel.
Oh, yeah.
And she
Yeah.
adopted this posture, which lifted her shoulders and her chest and centered her.
Yeah.
And she didn't know about it, but those who were talking about it said that was already a known thing. Is that something that you're aware of, or?
I have, heard of that. And, it's a common one that they teach people that doing public speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To sort of keep, to hold their hands like that while they're speaking.
It stops them slumping, apparently. Otherwise, you can, when you're tense, you can slump.
Yes.
Yeah, and physically, if you do it, you can physically feel the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's lots of little things like that as well. But, just having the intention of keeping your energy field clear will help. But
Marty, we haven't had a word from you yet.
Oh, it's the same. Gratitude for Wendy and energy for the group.
Lovely. Yeah. And I just have gratitude for all of you for showing up today and letting me share.
Lovely.
Well, the weird thing is that far more people watch a replay than come along.
Yes, they do.
In some programs, they work on 2 or 3% of people who sign up. We didn't have sign up, but 2 or 3% show up.
Yeah.
If it's free, they show up more if you have to pay. But it's the world we live in. It's just remarkable.
It is. Yeah.
We all just overwhelmed by possibilities.
Yeah.
I feel so much clearer just having sat with you guys for an hour. I mean, just in this beautiful space.
Great. It is nice, isn't it?
It is.
I'm doing a gig for the AFN, Australasian Facilitators Network, in a couple of weeks with Michelle Walker. And I'm going to use that bright eyes thing. When I've got people there, I'm going to ask them to have a look at their eyes. Are they feeling really bright?
Mm.
And if they're not, just take 5 minutes and come back again when they are.
Yeah. And it's why they, it's that old saying, the eyes are the windows of the soul, that's why.
Yeah. Well, thank you once again. I'm really grateful to you, as we all are.
Thank
and
you.
We'll talk to you sometime soon.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.
See you soon.